There are so many different ways of learning stuff online, but which of them actually work? If you want to study an academic subject in 2024 and you want to study it online, how should you go about it? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So to give you an idea of where I'm coming from, I've both taught students online through university and off my own back, and I've also studied online through various courses and through private tutors. So I'm going to try and give you my experience of what I think works and what doesn't work, and I'm going to try and give you some advice about what you should do if you want to learn stuff online. So maybe this applies to you because you don't have access to school or university for whatever reason, or maybe you've done all that, you've done a degree course, you're getting on with your life, and you just still want to learn some stuff, so you want to learn it online, okay? There's loads of reasons why you'd want to study online, learn stuff online, so let's jump straight into that. So I'm going to be focusing on studying academic subjects, okay? So not like how to wire a plug or skim a wool. If you want to know that, you can just jump on YouTube and work out how to do that. But what if you want to know A-level high school psychology or degree level philosophy? How do you study that kind of stuff online? So in evaluating different ways of doing that, I'm going to take a university degree course as kind of like the gold standard for what we're looking for through a method of study. And there's basically 4 things that we want and that you get through a university level course. So the first is expertise, right? If you're being taught by a professor at a decent university, they are going to know their stuff. There is the level at which we're studying, okay? If you want to study A-level physics, but you're looking at a course that's teaching you like master's level stuff, that's no good for you. So the advantage of like a university level course is it takes in everybody after high school A-level and moves them through years 1, 2 and 3 of undergrad, and then maybe at master's level and PhD level, and everything is kind of brought through at the right level, roughly the right level for you. And that links to the third feature, which is progression. When you're studying, you're not just kind of randomly learning stuff, but you are building on what you know. So you learn some stuff and then you build on that and then you build on that, and you are moving towards some endpoint, what you get at the end of that period of study. Maybe that's not the total end of study, because maybe you go onto another course and that takes you to another endpoint, but each individual course, each individual bit of study should have a structure with an endpoint, and maybe that leads into other courses in the future. And the fourth key feature of a university degree course is that you're going to get feedback, right? Learning isn't a matter of just taking in information. It's so important that as that information consolidates in your mind and you think about it, you get to ask questions and you get to put your ideas out there and kind of get feedback on whether they work, whether they're expressed well. If you're not getting any feedback, well, maybe you've learned something, but how are you going to know you've learned it? And if there's stuff you haven't learned, how do you know that you haven't learned that stuff? You don't really get a full picture there unless you're getting that feedback. And of course, the other thing that you get with a university course is you're going to get a qualification, you're going to get a degree, okay? But maybe that's not so important to you. For a lot of people who are looking to study online, maybe they don't want a degree, or they've already got a degree, or they're looking for a bit of knowledge that is much smaller than a degree. Maybe it's just, 1 term of a psychology course or whatever, okay? So for a lot of people, it's not the qualification that's important, it's those other 4 features that I was just talking about. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what's available through online teaching and see how much of that we can get. Here are our options for learning online, and I'm basically going to break these down into 4. First up, YouTube videos. This is a great way of learning online. There is so much good content out there on YouTube, and its main benefit is it's easy to access and it's completely free, as long as you don't mind the ads. Second up, you've got online courses. So often these are put together by people who have done some videos on YouTube, they've built a big following, and they put a load of their content together, or they create a bunch of new content into a course. You'll probably hear about these things all the time on their YouTube videos where they're advertising them, and they'll send you off to their sign up page, and then you can sign up and you take the course over however many weeks or in your own time. Third option, a distance learning course organised by a university or something similar. Okay, so similar to an online course, but the real difference here is it's being run by a university, so maybe there are some exams attached attached to it, and maybe there's a qualification attached to it at the end. Fourth option, you find yourself a private tutor and you do some one-to-one sessions with them. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of those 4 options and tell you what I think is good about it, what I think is bad about it, and then towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you my recommendations for how you can combine these 4 ways of doing things to get the most out of your online learning. Before we go any further, I'd just like to jump in here and say, I hope you're enjoying this content. If you'd like to help me out to make more educational academic content like this, go and take a look at my Ko-Fi page and see how you can help me out. Okay, so YouTube, it's got some big advantages, right? Mostly it's completely free and it's easy to access, and there is some really high quality content out there. On the downside, you are definitely not getting any feedback, or not really any feedback apart from a quick bit in the comments sometimes. You're not really getting that kind of one-to-one detailed feedback that you'd get in a university, but that's okay because you're not paying anything, so you can't expect too much for nothing. So it's still a really good option. But we've got to bear some things in mind around the issues of expertise and level and progression. So first up, there are loads of experts out there doing stuff on YouTube, and there are a whole bunch of charlatans. How are you going to know the difference? It's really hard, especially when you are just starting out learning a subject, because you don't know really how to evaluate whether somebody is already an expert in that. They're going to pretend they are, they're going to come across as an expert, someone who knows loads of stuff, but particularly when you're looking at academic subjects, you know, and we're talking about politics or philosophy or something like that, it can be really hard to work out whether you are dealing with a genuine expert or just somebody who's very opinionated. We've also got this issue of level. There's a real difference in learning something like politics or philosophy between high school level philosophy, undergraduate degree level philosophy, postgraduate degree level philosophy, or whatever. So if you're looking to study at a certain level, you're going to need to find videos that take you through at that level. So we could pick one topic, you know, it might be studying Descartes, or it might be studying ancient philosophy, or it might be studying metaphysics or whatever. You could study that at all these different levels. And I think here's one drawback of YouTube. Videos there don't often say, this is a video aimed at degree level philosophy students or whatever. I mean, sometimes they do, but, you know, often they don't come with those clear disclaimers. So, you know, you could spend a lot of time looking at stuff on YouTube. I mean, that's kind of great for interest, but it's not necessarily going to give you the stuff at the level you need. And similarly for progression, right? You might watch video after video after video. I mean, that's after all what YouTube wants you to do, but not really progress your knowledge, as in taking it from one level up to the next level and then to the next level. Because that's not just a matter of knowing more stuff. It's a matter of developing your ideas, gaining skills. And, you know, it's really hard to do that when the algorithm is just pretty much feeding you random videos. Okay, so maybe this is where an online course comes in. So typically when I see these, it's someone who has started off on YouTube, they've got a big following, and they think, okay, right, I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff together in a course. I'm going to charge a small amount of money for it, and I'm going to have people signing up. Maybe there is like a forum or a Discord server or something where people can talk to each other or get some interaction from the creator. So one of the main advantages of this kind of online course is that it's going to have this structure, okay? It's going to be advertised at people of a certain level, maybe like complete beginners, okay? That's a typical sort of thing to be looking at online. So it's going to take you from knowing next to nothing about that topic and developing your knowledge and your skills through, depending on whether it's a small course or a big course, might be taking you through to A-level standard or first year of a degree standard or whatever. Okay, so there's some real advantages there. For usually a relatively small cost, you're getting some structure, you're getting some progression, and maybe you're getting some chances of feedback. Then we've got distance learning courses set up by a university or a similar institution. So the kind of, I think the sort of gold standard here is the Open University in the UK. They were a university that was founded back in the 60s, specifically to teach people with distance learning courses, so people who wouldn't go into university but they would be learning at home. So this was way before the internet and way before universities in the UK charged for their courses. So it wasn't so much about the money, it was about the physical access. So people who had busy lives, jobs, families could learn in their own time. So I think to some extent this model has kind of been partially supplanted by YouTube and online courses, but there is still a place for this, particularly if you're interested in studying something that is very, very close to a university style degree, just not going into the university and doing that full-time or part-time. The other advantage of a distance learning course organised through a university is often there will be a qualification associated with that. But from my point of view, often it's not the qualification itself that's important, it's that the whole course, the structure of the course and the level of the course is directed at getting you to pass or get a good grade at that qualification. So all of those things tie in together really nicely, even if it's not the qualification that you want. Now, there's a whole range of different things on offer, and you might get no feedback, you might get a lot of feedback. It really does depend. And, obviously the more feedback from a tutor that is built into that course, the higher the cost's going to be. Because these things are run through universities and they have high overheads and they're trying to make money, these things aren't always cheap. And often, depending on exactly how much tutoring you're getting, how much content you're getting, they might not always be good value for money, especially when you compare the amount of stuff that is available for free or cheap on YouTube and elsewhere on the internet. Fourth option, getting a private tutor. Okay, so here, all the options are open. You might find a tutor online who's got a PhD in the subject, or they're studying for a PhD, or they're an academic who's working part-time. And then what you study with that tutor would be completely up to you. So it's kind of hard to say, is a tutor good or bad? Overall, you're going to get the highest amount of personalized feedback because you're just working one-to-one with them over Skype or whatever. The cost is probably going to be the highest for a personal tutor because every hour you get out of it is an hour or at least an hour that they're having to put into it, and you're going to have to pay for that. So if you're thinking of this kind of option either on its own or combined with one of the other ones, it's important to understand the value of that time. So often when I'm teaching at university, I will meet up with a student one-to-one, and maybe they've sat through hour after hour after hour of lectures and they haven't really got to grips with material. They haven't learned that much. But maybe we'll have a 20-minute one-to-one chat and the penny will drop. The light bulb will come on and they'll go, oh, now I get it. That 20 minutes of quality one-to-one time where it's focused on a particular end, I want to understand this, that can be so much more valuable than hours and hours and hours of preset lectures. So when we're looking up, is a private tutor good value or not? Well, you could look at the headline rate per hour and think, maybe that's quite a lot. But bear in mind that an hour of personal one-to-one tutoring is probably worth hours and hours and hours of online videos, lectures, whatever. So what's my recommendation? How do I think you should go about learning online in 2024? Here are my main bits of advice. Number one, have a clear goal, something really specific in mind. Not just, I want to learn philosophy. I would like to learn A-level philosophy and then pass the A-level. Or I would like to study a first-year undergraduate course in ethics. Once you've got that goal, try and get hold of a syllabus. So if it's an A-level, you can look at the exam boards to see what would be in the exam. If it's a university level bit of understanding you're after, try to get hold of a university course syllabus. So what would that lecturer teach week by week? What reading would they suggest you go and read? Good source here is looking at open university textbooks on that topic if there are any, because they will give you the structure and the reading that you're going to need. Once you've got that, how do you actually go about learning this stuff? Well, I would use a combination of the things that we've talked about. Start your learning by looking at YouTube as well as doing some reading. Maybe if you find an online course that's going to take you through that stuff, but I would say don't spend too much of your hard-earned money here because courses, they may be great, they might not be. If you're serious about learning something, particularly if you want to do it at university level, look into getting a personal one-to-one tutor. If you are thinking about hiring a tutor, here's the way to get the most out of your money. Have that aim in mind, that specific aim in mind. Discuss it with the tutor first before you start meeting with them and see if they can come up with a personalized course for you. So if they feel confident that they can put something together to take you from where you are now to that goal that you've set for yourself, then maybe that's going to work out for you. If on the other hand, they just want to tell you the stuff that they know doesn't sound like it's going to work out so good for you. And if it's important to you that your learning comes with a qualification of some kind, or you want to sit exams to test what you know, go and look at university distance learning courses. So for instance, Birkbeck College at University of London has this very interesting distance learning philosophy course, where basically you sign up for a module, a topic, and they give you a booklet, a syllabus, and you go away and learn that yourself. So they're not really teaching you it. You go away, and what most students do there is they find their own personal tutor to teach them that stuff. And what the university course is doing is it's structuring the learning and it's examining you. So the idea there is that you learn under your own steam, maybe with a private tutor, and then you sit their exams and then you get their qualification. So I would think of that as kind of like a top up, but the main bit of the learning is whatever you do, whether it's through YouTube or some other course or through a personal tutor. So I've talked quite a bit about working one-to-one with a personal tutor. This is something I've been doing a little bit of with small numbers of students over the last few years. Basically, I really enjoy that one-to-one engagement, and I really enjoy taking students through working towards their goals, whether that is passing university exams, getting a qualification or whatever. And what I'm hearing back from the students I've worked with is it's worked out pretty good for them as well. So I am going to be taking on small numbers of students to work with one-on-one this summer term. If you're interested in studying with me, go and take a look at my website. Typically, I'm going to be focusing on degree level topics in philosophy and logic. So if you think you might be interested, but you're not quite sure whether it's right for you, just get in touch and we can have a chat about it and see whether it's going to help you out. So however you're going to go about learning online, basically, good luck to you. It's such an amazing thing to do. It expands your mind. It can really add meaning and value to your life. And just chatting with people in the comments to these videos, I know there's people out there who have learned so much off their own steam. It's really amazing to see. Thank you to my Ko-Fi supporters for making this content possible. And thank you to you for watching this far. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you back on Attic Philosophy soon.